Hey, this is Matt once again. We're about to another video, and this is a paid request for a Meta Bear. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, movie review, re-review, random thoughts, streams, commentaries, video game playthrough for an hour or a full playthrough, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. I do have a CashApp as well. Links are down below in the info box, and I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. For those who sent them, thank you. I do appreciate it. And this is for Rashomon, the 1950 film by Akira Kurosawa. Now, I will admit I had never seen an Akira Kurosawa. I can't even say the fucking name right. Akira Kurosawa. It just never came about. So, Seven Samurai, none of that, it just never came about. Now, when I was a kid, because his films were not around to watch, as an adult, there's just so many other films to watch, so little time, and so it just never, I heard of the man, I've heard of his films multiple times, it just never became onto my radar. Now, I heard of the films, including this one, and I know this type of idea has been used in multiple films, Vantage Point being one of them with Dennis Quaid, where you take one event, but then depending on who you ask, the event is different. You know, it's the same event, but based on their perspective, based on their point of view, things seem different or things seem changed. Granted, usually in some other films, it is the same event, but you just see it from different perspectives. So because you see in this perspective, you get a little bit more information. Then you see in this one, you get even a little bit more information. So that's not the case in this. This really is where one event happens, and depending on who tells the story, it's the same place, it's the same people, but the events are different. Obviously, this is about the human psyche and how, in a way, depending on who tells the story, they could become the hero of their own story, the victim of their own story, make themselves look better than they really do, all that jazz. So I get what Akira Kurosawa was doing with that, and it was interesting, I will say. It's a small film. There's only really just a couple of locations. There's the area where it's raining and these three people are hiding from the rain. It's kind of like this building that's in wreckage. There's a woodcutter, there's a priest, and there's a guy, a commoner, a guy just kind of flippant and wanted to wait for the rain so he could get the hell out of there. Then there's a patch in the woods, and then there's an area where one kind of tells their story, but the bare minimum of sets, locations, very bare minimum. So the woodcutter and the priest are talking, and they're talking about how they heard this story. Now, granted, they kind of embellish on this because they go on about how it's such a horrible story and it's such a horrible, awful story that they heard, and they're talking about how there's been war, there's been plague, people killed by insects, but this was horrible. And then when you hear the story, I'm like, okay, it's sad what happened, but it's not as fucking horrible as they're making it out to be. Like, the hype is bigger than the actual events. But maybe it was different in 1950, so it is what it is. So the third guy, the commoner, he's like, well, what happened? What happened? The woodcutter quickly tells that he went into the woods and he found hats, an amulet, rope that's been cut, and a body. The body of a samurai. Then they tell the story where the bandit was caught. The bandit played by Toshiro Mifune, who he's been in quite a few films in this era. And his performance was fun because he would have this maniacal laugh. And you kind of found out at the end as to why he has a just the way I took it, jumping ahead. The last story told, I took it that's what truly happened. Maybe some people will disagree, maybe some people will argue with that, but that's the way I took it. And if that's the case, I'd like to see why this guy has a maniacal laugh at this point in time. But you don't really know at first. You find that out later. But definitely an energetic performance by Toshiro Mifune. And so throughout the film, you have the story from the bandit's point of view, who's been caught, the lady's point of view, where she was missing for a bit, and then she arrives there. From the dead samurai's point of view, through a medium, which I thought, okay, it's a bit different. That's a bit supernatural. I didn't expect that. It took me off a bit because I'm thinking there's going to be much more of a realistic story, but now we have a medium and possession, dead ghost talking. And then the woodcutter story. So technically you have 4 points of view. And the points of view, they're all different. How do I do this without spoiling it? It was an interesting take on, like I said, the human psychology and how one person's perspective could be either tainted or how their lives can twist and turn to satisfy their own wants or their own selfish needs, or to make themselves look to be much better than they truly are, if that makes sense. So I thought that was interesting for the story. And it's not a long film. It's only like an hour and 28 minutes. So it's a pretty short film, 80-some minutes. It's done in black and white. Nice photography on that. They use the simplicity to its advantage. The acting is pretty good all around. I didn't really see anyone that was bad acting-wise. So they get more into spoilers. Toshiro Mifune, the bandit, he says he was lying around. He saw the samurai with this bride-to-be with a veil upon her. He watches them. He tells the samurai, oh, I found this place with all these swords and stuff. And the samurai is hesitant. So eventually he tricks the samurai, knocks him down, goes back, assaults the lady. And then after assaulting the lady, she attacks him with a dagger. Okay, this lady's pretty forceful, and she's not a waste of space. And eventually, there's this fight between the samurai and him, where there's a maniacal fight, where the bandit's really into it, and going back and forth, until eventually killing the samurai. So the lady tells the story, and the way she puts it was, as soon as the assault happened, the bandit just left. Just completely left. And it was just her and the samurai. And that the samurai wanted nothing to do with her because she was tainted. And she's like, don't look at me like that. Please don't look at me like that. And do whatever you want to me. Spit on me, hit me, kill me, whatever. But don't look at me like that. Has like the dagger. She's trembling. She's hysterical. Then she faints. Then she wakes up. And she sees that a dagger has been put into the samurai. And then she would flee. So the medium comes in and conjures up the dead soul of the samurai. And possessing this woman, he says about how his lady actually accepted a marriage proposal from the bandit. And then she even told the bandit, you gotta kill him. And even the bandit Toshiro Mifune is like, what the hell? You bitch, you dirty ass bitch. Slammed her down and says, tell me what to do. If you want me to kill her, I will. If not, I will as... because this bitch is a bitch. And that the samurai said, no, don't do it. And she ran off, and the bandit cut him loose, and he walked off. And then the samurai was saddened, and he killed himself. So you look at these three stories, and they all kind of make themselves look to be better in some way. The bandit story makes it seem as if he is the vicarious womanizer bandit, and that's the legend that's been around, and he had this lady, and it seemed like they could get together, and he had a fight with the samurai, and killed him, and he was victorious. The lady's point of view was she was much more of a victim, and this guy assaulted her, and he just left without even saying anything to her. And then she tried to go back to her man, and she was thrown away from him. And she even offered, you do anything you want to me, please, you do whatever you want. And she fainted. That she was the total innocent of this. She did not do anything wrong. Complete victim. And then the samurai is that he was honorable, and not only was he honorable, but his bride even wanted him dead and betrayed him, and even a bandit treated him well than his bride, and such heartache he had to kill himself. Seppuku, however you want to say it. I'm bad. I can barely pronounce English, let alone Japanese, so bear with me. Then the woodcutter gets upset. It's like, this is all bullshit. None of that happened at all. This is the real story. Yeah, I lied before. You kind of find out like he took the sword or something and sold it. But I put it that the woodcutter, the story he tells, is a story that really happened. Because it just feels like with human nature, I don't want to say it feels the most realistic, but it just made it seem, okay, this is why the others lied about it. Because it didn't make any of them look good. It didn't make any of them look good. Where the bandit was baiting the girl to marry him. Baiting. Not, oh, she fell for him. And like the bandit told like he kissed her and then she fell for him because of his charm. No, he was baiting this girl to marry him. And then the samurai said, I refuse to risk my life for a woman like this who's been with another man. And she even tells the lady to go kill yourself because you're a shameless whore. And then the band is looking at this and he's sweating, he's a bit confused, and he's like, forget all this is a bit too much. I try to remember why, because he was begging so much to marry her, and then when she's adamant, yes, I will marry you, then he turns her away. I'm kind of confused as to why he did that. Toshiro Mifune's character, the bandit. Maybe something I missed. But either way, maybe he was all talk, but he didn't really mean it. I don't know. And then she goes hysterical, and she goes crazy, and she pretty much calls out their man, and goes, you're both are pussies, you're both are liars, you have no honor, all this stuff. And she's laughing maniacally and crazy like. I guess based on their duty, like they don't want to fight, but it's like they have to fight, but they're hesitant. And the fight is not some grandiose fight like we saw earlier, or a show of respect. It's them just kind of floundering around like kids, and just kind of doing this, and kind of seeing like how we all would fight in real life. And then she mentions like, whoever kills, I'll go with the other person. Like, if you kill him, I'll go with you, and you kill him, I'll go with you, and like they don't want to fight. It's awkward, and it's just shows that nobody's in the right mind, and nobody wants to do this, and everybody's at fault when one of them could have stopped this whole thing. And the samurai's even begging for his life, and you tell the other guy doesn't want to do this, so maybe he's not so much the hotshot bandit that he says he is. He's actually a guy that's much more scared and nervous in real life than the visage that he puts himself upon. And the samurai's not as, a samurai begging for his life, and a bandit who's like scared of doing this, and but yet before was begging for this girl to marry him. I mean, it doesn't really show who they say they were earlier. So he reluctantly kills the samurai, and he's like shaking. And then the lady, she just runs off. So even the whole, I'll go with you, and he's like looking for her. So I guess now he's more willing to let her, yeah, I'll take you. I'll take you. Then she ran off. And it's like, wow, I did this for nothing. I did this for nothing. I caused this for nothing. And he's shaking. And that's where he gets a bit of his maniacal laugh. And so more than likely, that's why he was maniacally laughing when he was caught earlier in the movie. And you see the bandit like hyperventilating. And that's why, I mean, it shows just how full of it pretty much everybody was. Now, granted, I don't think that story is so horrible that, it's worse than wars and pestilence and plague and incest killing people, but, maybe the priest just said that for the shits and giggles, or was it the woodcutter saying that? Anyway, they've lost their faith in humanity. The commoner, and then all of a sudden this pops out of nowhere. There's a baby crying nearby, and the commoner steals stuff from the baby, and the woodcutter's pissed at him. And then the priest takes the baby, and he doesn't have faith in humanity, but the woodcutter's like, I'll take him. No, it's okay. I have 6 kids anyway. One more won't be much difference. And that has regained the priest's faith in humanity. And the last shot is the woodcutter taking this baby, thinking about how people screw each other over and turn on each other, and yet here's someone being selfless and taking a stranger, a kid, even though he has 6 kids. I have 5 kids to feed. Benny, screw you. No. Now, the baby does, it just comes out of nowhere, and it felt kind of forced. It's like they wanted to have a bit of a hopeful ending. I get that. I don't know if there was a way to do that within the story. Like, of the samurai and this lady and the bandit, maybe. I don't know how you would do that, though, of course. Maybe the reason this was all happening is that maybe there was a baby in the mix, and the woodcutter lied to begin with because he saved this baby, and he didn't want this baby to be in the midst of all this bullshit. And if this is how they treat each other, imagine how they could treat this baby, and the woodcutter saved the baby. Like, maybe some, but I know that would be a bit more complicated, be a bit more explaining to do. So, it didn't, like, it was sweet, and it was fine. It really just did come out of nowhere. All of a sudden, there's a baby there. Like, where the fuck's the baby come from? But I did give a bit of a hopeful ending. I can understand that, so I can't complain too much about that. So it's not a film that's an action film. It's not a film that, I mean, there's really no room for humor or comedy because of the story. It's just an interesting story with decent actors, and again, it's a nice theme around it, and it didn't overstay its welcome. Like I said, I do appreciate that it was only 80 some minutes long. I think that's what made it work. I was intrigued with the story to see where it was going, and I get what they were going for, and I'm like, okay, that's interesting. And that's kind of how I felt about it. Overall, I did like it for what it was. Is it a film I rewatch and buy on physical media? No. But am I glad I saw it once? Yes. I didn't mind it. I did not mind the film. Yes, the guy who hates everything didn't mind it. So, with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. And we will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye for now.